What's going on, everybody? I'm here back with my top 15 running backs. I did quarterbacks, you can check out that video. Link will be in the description. But of course, I gotta start with number 1, Adrian Peterson. 279 attempts in 2013 with 1,266 yards and 10 touchdowns. Now, I'm also going to tell you their receiving stats because that's so important to the running back position now. 29 catches, 171 yards, and 1 touchdown. So, obviously, future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. The 2,000-yard season a couple years back, 9 yards away from breaking Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record. But just every year this guy puts the Vikings on his back, plays excellent football. He's fast, he's strong, he's everything you need in a running back, and of course he's number 1. And at number 2, last year's rushing leader, Shady McCoy, with 314 attempts, 1,607 yards, 9 touchdowns, 52 receptions for 539 yards and 2 TDs. This guy is a dual threat. He's fast, he's elusive, he has great hands, one of the better receiving backs in the NFL, and really is gonna anchor Chip Kelly's offense in that no huddle. Now that Deshaun Jackson's gone, I don't know if he's gonna get the holes that he did, the room, but if they can still stretch the field, Sean McCoy will get a bunch of carries, a bunch of receptions, and maybe even lead the league in touchdowns again. I mean, rushing again. And at number 3, we got Jamaal Charles, 259 attempts with 1,287 yards and 12 TDs. But here's the good part about him: 70 receptions, 693 yards, and 7 touchdowns. When you're talking about a great running back, also with a great receiving running back, Jamaal Charles is the best receiving running back in the game. 19 total touchdowns last year. Just a monster. Had 5 touchdowns in one game against the Raiders. I remember that game. He's very fast, very elusive, great hands, good acceleration, just everything you want in today's running back. He is what you want in today's running back right here. I think he accounted for over 30% of the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Helps out Alex Smith and Dwayne Bowe and them a lot, and kind of carries that offense. And at number 4, we got Skittles, Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, 301 attempts for 1,257 yards and 12 touchdowns, 36 catches, 316 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This guy's a beast. He gets big runs. He's not really fast, but he'll truck, stiff arm, juke you. Great. He carries the load. Can take 25 to 30 carries a game. Not a good receiving back. I mean, he's okay, but he's not no one you're gonna worry as a threat at the receiving as a receiving back. But definitely a great runner. Kinda didn't carry that offense necessarily, but definitely one of the top running backs in the NFL for a few years now. Look forward to see what he can do next year. And at number 5, we got Matt Forte. 289 attempts, 1,339 yards, 9 touchdowns. Also 74 catches, 594 yards, and 3 touchdowns. As a receiving back, he's always been a good screen game back, a good dump down back. He's a good runner. He's very underrated. I think was only number 90 in this year's top 100. Yeah, he's second in the league in rushing. Also, it's almost 600 yards receiving. This guy, he's getting a little old. I think he's 29, but definitely has a good few years ahead of him. He's been the Bears starting back for many years. He's played good every single year. I still think he's a bit underrated, but he'll always be a good player. And at number 6, we got Frank the Tank, At 31 years old, he still produced 276 attempts for 1,128 yards and 9 touchdowns, 16 receptions, 141 yards, and 0 receiving touchdowns. Definitely still has, I think, a good 2-3 years in the NFL. He's very durable. He plays small. He's a good trucking back. Doesn't have great speed, but has good footwork. He gets through small holes very easily. This guy just breaks tackles. He always keeps his legs moving. Always goes forward. I know people are saying he's getting old, 31. But I still think he's got another couple years good with the 49ers, and hopefully they can win a Super Bowl before he retires. And at number 7, I think people will say he's a bit too high, but he only played 8 games last season. He had 121 attempts, 542 yards, 1 touchdown, 22 catches, 183 yards, and 1 touchdown catch. If you times those numbers by 2, he's a pretty solid running back. Not to mention, a few years back, he led the league in rushing. I still think he's got it. He was hurt a lot this year, obviously. Good trucking back also. Good speed, too. Definitely, he keeps his legs pumping. I'm not too sure how old he is, but I don't think he's too old. I think he's maybe 26 or so. I could be way wrong, but definitely a good running back for the Texans. They're going to need a good running back because they don't have a quarterback. They have a good defense. I hope the Texans get it done this year, and I hope Arian Foster gets it done this year. And at number 8, we got DeMarco Murray, 217 attempts, 1,124 yards, and 9 touchdowns, 53 catches, 350 yards, and 1 touchdown. Definitely, sorry, my phone went off. Definitely a good all-around back. Can catch, can truck, can outrun people. I don't think they give him the ball enough because, for some reason, if they have a lead in the 4th quarter, they will still pass. I think this guy's numbers can go way up. I think he can be the leading rusher in the NFL one of these days. Very good. I think very underrated. I think if Cowboys give him the ball 275 times this year, I think he'll lead the league in rushing. Also have a good 50 catches and a pair of receiving touchdowns. But definitely a great running back moving forward in his young career. And at number 9, we got the veteran Reggie Bush. I think he's at the age of 29. His stats: 223 yards, attempts, 1,006 yards, 4 TDs, 54 catches, 506 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Definitely very elusive, very agile. Great receiving back. Had a lot of yards. I remember he had a lot of big plays in the receiving game for the Lions last year. Just had over 1,000 yards, which is pretty good for him, seeing how the Lions don't run the ball too much. But Reggie getting towards the end of his career. I think he has a couple good years left in him. He's been looking good in the preseason. He had that 86-yard touchdown run, which showed a lot of speed that I didn't think he still had. But definitely a good running back in his last few years in the NFL. Very fast and agile. Definitely can carry the load. And at number 10, we got Ray Rice, 214 attempts, 660 yards, 4 touchdowns, 58 catches, 321 yards, and 0 touchdown receptions. Now, the Ravens' offensive line was terrible last year. I think the stats will tell you that. Ray Rice was getting no holes. I don't know. I think he's still a top 10 running back in the NFL. I think he's getting a little older, but he's definitely a shorter guy. But he's definitely still fast, still strong. Can still keep his legs pumping. Good receiving back also. He had 58 catches, 321 yards, no touchdown. But then again, offensive line play was bad. I think he'll pick it up. He's only going to have 14 games if he stays healthy this season. Suspended first 2 games, so I think he'll get it done. Number 11, I got the veteran MJD, Definitely used to be maybe even arguably the top running back in the NFL. Last year, 234 attempts, 803 yards, 5 touchdowns, with 43 catches, 314 yards, and 0 touchdown receptions. Definitely an all-around back, does it all, outruns, has good acceleration, has good elusiveness, very good hands. He's old, reliable. Led the league in rushing, I think, once or twice. But now he's gone to the Raiders. I think he'll be the starting running back over Darren McFadden, because by week 3, Darren McFadden will be out for the season. We all know this. So I think it was smart for them to pick up MJD. He's getting older. He considered retirement after this season, but I think he has a couple good seasons left in him and potentially a 1,500-yard rusher. Never know. Alfred Morris is at number 12. 276 attempts, 1,275 yards with 7 touchdowns. And only 9 catches for 78 yards and 0 touchdowns. So receiving back, no, he's not gonna beat you with his receiving. Only 9 catches last year. That's having 1 every 2 games basically. But definitely he's a very powerful running back. He can carry the load. He can take 30. He can carry the ball 30 times a game. Definitely, I think, underrated. He's still young, very young. And I think in the new offense for the Redskins, he will still produce. I think RG3 just needs to hand the ball off to him, not get hurt, not get cocky. He needs to start sliding down and just give the ball to this man. And at number 13, we got Doug Martin. Only 6 games, but in 6 games, 127 attempts, 456 yards for 1 touchdown, 12 catches, 66 yards, and 0 touchdowns in receiving. Now, didn't play much at all this last year, but his first season, his rookie season, he played terrific. Definitely carried the Buccaneers offense, and I think he's going to do that again this year. I think he'll stay healthy. I think they'll help out that great defense that Lovie Smith will change, and I think they'll be a top 10 defense. And I think on the offensive side of the ball, they just give the ball to Doug Martin, and Josh McCown just toss it up to his big receivers. I think that's the formula for the muscle hamster. He's kind of strong, but he's also fast. He's kind of not great at one thing, but good at a lot of things. At number 14, Ryan Matthews had a great season with 285 attempts, 1,255 yards, and 6 touchdowns. 26 catches, 189 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now, his receiving stats, they don't have to be good because the Chargers have Danny Woodhead that they'll bring for receiving. They'll bring in on 3rd downs for receiving the ball, but Ryan Matthews, I'd like to see more consistency from him. That's why he's so low, despite having the great stats this year. He needs to be more consistent, but towards the end of last year and in the playoffs, he carried the load, really helped Phillip Rivers out. They have pretty good running backs over there. Ryan Matthews, Donald Brown, Danny Woodhead. So they have 3 good running backs, and I still think he's going to be number 1 on the depth chart. And at number 15, I don't tend to put rookies on this list, but the season he had in his rookie year was special. 284 attempts, 1,178 yards with 11 rushing touchdowns, 35 catches, 257 yards, and 0 receiving touchdowns. Definitely, that Cowboys game sticks out to me. What he could do, he put the team on his back and brought him back. Aaron Rodgers I think only played 9 games, so I think Eddie Lacy really came in and carried the load when they were figuring what they're going to do out in quarterback. They tried Matt Flynn. I forgot that other quarterback, Scott Tolzien, but he was consistent last year. The Packers really needed a good running game, and I think going forward in his career, Eddie Lacy's going to be a really good running back. And my honorary mentions are Pierre Thomas, D'Angelo Williams, C.J. Spiller, Darren Sproles, and Stephen Ridley, who also could have cracked this list, but just not good enough. So thanks for watching. Remember, these are just my opinions. I want to hear your opinions in the comments. Just don't yell at me in the comments. As you noticed on this list, I went for the veteran more than I did the young guy. So yeah. I don't know when I'll have my top 15 wide receivers, which are next. I've been busy. I went to the Football Hall of Fame yesterday. I helped my sister go to move my sister into college Thursday. I've been busy. Madden 15 is going to come out. I'm going to upload a couple videos that day. So hopefully my top 15 wide receivers will be out sometime this week. And thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Go follow me on Twitter.